Hello, I'm Mario Toneguzzi with Italian Spotlight, brought to you by Spalombos. Joining me today is Danilo Terra, who is a fine Italian in Calgary. Thanks for joining us today, Danilo.
Buongiorno. Thanks for having me, Mario.
All right,
Appreciate being here.
super. Well, super, Danilo. We're going to talk a little bit about your adventures here, and I know you're a huge fan of social media, and as just as an aside, I chuckled because our good mutual friend Tony Spallatini at Spalombos often joked to me there about, I don't know who does most social media posting, whether it's you or Danilo, but you're active out there, and recently you were active at Mount Everest, of all places. Tell us about that, what you were doing at Mount Everest.
Well, I always think of myself as a contrarian thinker. So when people aren't traveling, I'm the guy that goes and tries the book, and that's what I did about a year and a half or 2 years ago. Mount Everest and going to Mount Everest. And just to be clear, I didn't climb Mount Everest. I went to base camp and we climbed a nearby summit called Kalpatar. So it was a wonderful journey. I've always been really infatuated with Mount Everest and reading the book since I was a kid, having posters up in my bedroom. I remember that. And I just recently, it was about the last 2 to 3 years, I decided to get really healthy, start working out regularly once again. And as a treat to myself, once I saw that special come up during COVID for the Everest Base Camp trek, I jumped on board and did that.
So how high would have you gone in terms of your trek?
So we reached just under 6,000 meters. So about 5,644. I'm actually looking at it to get the elevation correct. So just under 6,000 meters. So for those of you that know Sunshine, mountain, it's about double that height, and Everest, so about 2/3 of the way up to the top of the world, which is Everest. So we didn't once again we didn't climb to the summit, but made it to base camp, which still requires acclimatization, and was about an 8-day trek, a 10-day total. You have to take your time getting up there. People do get sick.
Yeah,
we saw that a few deaths at base camp this year just due to high altitude, not just climbers, actually some trekkers as well. So it's quite the journey, and it was great.
So tell me from a physical standpoint, what it was like to do that, and for two things: A, the hike, and then B, the altitude that you're up there.
Yeah, physically, there's a mental game and there's a physical game. It's a long trek. It's a long way. You're going up. There's a lot of steps, and really, you just got to break it down in those smaller goals, the daily goals. We had a guide, an amazing guide through Prime Himalayas, and very experienced. He set the pace. It was a very slow pace there, so to not get your heart elevated. You basically just slowly climatize all the way up. You're not pushing it, you're not running up. There was a couple times I did take a jaunt to a nearby point, and I would almost jog, and I was completely winded. So the elevation does get to you sometimes. So it's a grind. You walk and eat and sleep and recover, but you get up there after a few days for sure.
Was it cold?
It does drop down substantially, and you sleep in these tea houses, and which are fairly rustic, and so it is cold. But big blankets, a sleeping bag, a toque at night, and even during the day, everyone's wearing their puffy jackets. So it does get cold. Absolutely.
And what about food? Obviously, no pasta or lasagna on that trip. Like, what do you eat on a trip like that?
The food, it's funny because they changed the word food to fuel when you're up there. And really that's what it is. Surprisingly, there is some pasta up there, so it's high carbs. We're having a lot of rice dishes, and noodles and that. I stayed away from the meat, and that was a choice, and I was advised to do so. There isn't the refrigeration we have, and they actually pack the meat up unrefrigerated from lower elevation. So For us Westerners, you can get sick, and I really didn't want to risk that. So
Yeah.
I went vegetarian for that trip. At least till when I was in Kathmandu, I treated myself with the
Ah,
meat.
what, when you look back at that trip, well, first of all, being there, like, what kind of things were running through your head that, holy man, I'm here at, the base of Mount Everest? Like, what kind of emotions were going through your mind?
Oh, yeah, it was surreal. I mean, you're there, and in May, that's when they summit. So the camp was active. You see all the tents. You see the dining room tents, and all the you see Sherpas' feet hanging out of the tents because they sleep during the day. Sometimes they want to attack that Kumbo ice fall at night when it's very stable instead of when the sun is hitting it and when
Uh,
it's moving and creaking. So it is surreal. You know all the stories. On the way up, you pass the memorials for all the climbers and Sherpas that have passed away and died on Everest. So it is very real. It's a big risk for those climbers. It was cool being there and seeing that. On our summit day of Kalapatar, we were lucky enough that we had such good visibility. We saw that at 4 a.m. we saw the headlights of climbers climbing up that day, and they were doing their summit push around that time. So it was very, very interesting, very cool to be there.
so I want to go back, like you mentioned your fascination as a young boy to this. Like, what was it, or what is it about that area that fascinated you from a young age?
Well, growing up in the Rockies here in Calgary, Alberta, and close by, and luckily my folks were avid campers and hikers and backpackers, and I mean I was always in the mountains. I think it's one of those Stanley Cups of climbing, and those stories just really intrigued me. Being in that part of the world so far away in the Himalayas, yeah, it was just something that always interests me. So even university, following every May who was summiting which groups, the films and documentaries that come out. It's just been something I've always wanted to pursue and be there. Once again, not climb. I don't think I could ever climb it. I really respect everyone that does. It takes a lot of a big pocketbook. It's expensive, and there is risk, and two little girls, and not something I want to do. But I definitely love to go back to that area again. It was quite magical.
Okay, and one thing that fascinated me, and maybe you can explain this, but you were posting. Well, you're posting actually. Posting on social media. Were you actually posting from there?
Yeah, and that blew a lot of people away because
Yeah. How
the
was that
signal
possible?
was unbelievable. There were parts of my trek that there was no signal,
Yeah.
obviously. But when you get close to base camp, they actually have great signal. So I think I was climbing the Kalapatar at 4 a.m. that morning, and I looked at my phone, and we had direct sight of line to Everest Base Camp, and I was like, I've got 5 bar service here. So that's why I posted that Facebook Live. If you go on my Facebook, and yeah, I am active on social media. Part of my job and career is to be out there and top of mind with everybody. And but it was great. It just blew my mind. And then you go somewhere in the Rockies here and you get no cell signal, or even parts
Yeah.
of the Trans Canada. So
Well, that was the thing I couldn't believe. When I saw your post in the Facebook Live, I'm going like, what? How did you get cell phone service out there? Right? But that was fascinating. Talking about fascinating, one of the things that you do here in Calgary is you play the accordion. And tell me a little bit about that, and how you started playing that instrument, and where you play it.
oh, well, my father played and my brother played. So I had to play. Some people said I was cursed. I had to play. Like, no, it's been a blessing. If you asked me growing up in junior high and high school, if it was a cool thing to do, it was not. It was a challenge. I stuck with it, took lessons, and through the Italian community and a lot of the other ethnic European communities, I quickly found that it's a very social instrument. It's a fun instrument, and people really resonate from the old country with it. I started learning those tunes and that music, and really it became a passion to share that, and also financially. When I was a kid, I get paid to play, and it was a big, I guess, a way of raising funds for university. I was playing 6 nights a week sometimes, and quite a show. So I still play quite actively for the Italian community, the Austrian, German, Slovenian communities, and love it. Was at one time a house musician for the Calgary Italian Club in the cantina there on Wednesday nights. We did that for 3 years, so we might bring that back soon again.
Oh, it'd be great to bring it back. Yeah, that would be great to bring it back, because it just, I don't know, there's something about it. We have a friend of our family who's Ukrainian, and when he would come over for like Christmases, he would always bring, you know, the box with the accordion in it, and play it out. But it just, I don't know, it's a fun thing, right? And you get people up, and they're vibrant and active, so it's an interesting instrument. But tell me also, you play in a band, don't you, with this?
That's right. Yeah, I play in believe it or not, a Celtic rock band, an East Coast Celtic rock band. We have a wonderful award-winning lead singer called Byron Eddy. He's from Newfoundland, and it's a 5-piece band. We support him in, and we've been around over 20 years, close to 20 years now, and we played the oil sands. They've flown us up to Nunavut to play. We had some radio play on CKUA, CBC. We're still getting played on the East Coast. So believe it or not, Italian guys playing in an Irish Celtic band. If you look at the website, they actually changed my name to Danny O'Malley. So there's a joke there, of course.
And the band's name is
Afraid Not. So FRAID KNOT, and 2 words there. And yeah, we play regularly. We have some gig this weekend actually, and you'll see us downtown Calgary a lot on 8th Avenue at the James Joyce. It's been a good run there. We sure enjoy it.
Oh, let's talk a little bit about Italian stuff. Danilo, what part of Italy are you from?
So I actually was born in Italy. I was born in Rome, but my family is Abruzzese. So we're from Abruzzo, near Pescara. The seaside town where my father's from is Silvia Marina, and we have lots of relatives there. Some Terras there, and also close by in a town called Atri. So yeah, Abruzzese.
And what do you like? You obviously spent a lot of time there over the years. What do you like about that region?
Oh, yeah, you know, I was fortunate. My dad did take me back. We have a lot of my relatives, a lot of my family still in Italy. So we go back quite regularly. I try and take my kids and family as well. So there's a strong connection. What do I like about Abruzzo? A little bit off the radar compared to the Tuscanies and the Venices and the Florence and Rome. But it has, they say forte gentile Abruzzo, which means strong and gentle. There's mountains over 3,000 meters there, Gran Sasso, and also you can get sea to sky. They say you can get right to the beach within an hour between the two. So quite a lot of diversity. You get the old towns and the food and the beaches and all sorts of things in that province. So it's definitely a place in the world I love to go back to.
And tell me, Danilo, what you enjoy and your favorite things about being Italian.
Oh, hey, so many. I have to say, the food and wine is number one. When mom cooks and actually my mom is Canadian. My dad's Italian. My mom lived in Italy for 15 years. Learned my grandma's recipes, and she actually speaks Italian. So really good. But you know, when I taste that food from home, and at the Italian club La Cantina, everyone would see, I see you there all the time. I think we cross paths numerous times. I love bringing clients and friends there. It feels like home and sharing that. So I have to say that the culture and that party culture where you're gathering around the table, I really enjoy it.
All right, super. So Danilo, before we sign off, I just have to ask you, like, what do you do? What do you do for a living? Like, I know you're busy outdoorsman. You know, from your posts, you're doing a lot of outdoor stuff, a lot of trekking in the mountains. You know, you're out and about in the community a lot. You know, exploring the city. I even saw you up at Oiler country the other day for the hockey game. You know, and then obviously the accordion playing. So, in terms of making a living, tell me a little bit about your career.
Yeah, my career. I got a business degree from the U of A from Edmonton, though I'm from Calgary, and quickly went into commercial banking. So I was a commercial banker for quite a while here since 2001, and I'm specialist on the equipment finance side. So I help businesses in Alberta here find or finance the equipment that they need to be successful. So oil and gas equipment and yellow iron and manufacturing equipment, trucks and trailers. So I'm currently working with ATB Financial and have been for the last 5 years as their director of equipment finance. And I like to think of myself as a networker. So I'm out in the community. I always say if you need a bus or a biopsy, give me a shout. I might know someone that can help. I have a large network, and I really just believe that everyone just needs to work together and help each other and in any capacity, and we build great community that way.
Okay, give you a little plug here, Danilo. Tell me how people can reach you if they want to be in touch, you know, about the commercial banking side of things, or even if they want to sign, you know, call you up and want to have you play at their wedding.
Oh, wow. Yeah, how to get a hold of me? Well, Danilo_Terra @hotmail.com. That's my old email address. I'm on LinkedIn. Feel free to show. I love connecting. So a cafe or for a lunch, you know, happy to connect and bring that music or help you to help the businesses grow. So yeah, definitely. And yeah, I'd like to thank Spolumbos for the sponsorship today. Tony's been a great supporter of the community and myself, even the music. We were always on the same gigs. He would be the speaker and I'd be the accordion player. So we'd always see the followers each other around, and it's always been so nice.
All right, super. Well, thanks, Danilo, for joining us today.
Mario, thanks for having me, and yeah, so good to be here. Thank you, and thanks for what you do.
All right, okay, thank you. That was Danilo Terra, who is an Italian living here in Calgary. I'm Mario Toneguzzi with Italian Spotlight, brought to you by Spolumbos. Thanks for joining us today.